signings. Let's kick this off. Tony Khan, on behalf of AEW Power, because Tony's the driving force. He's the one who signs off on the contracts. And Paul Levesque, he's the chief content officer, pal. If there's not someone he doesn't think is going to have value or get screen time, they're not getting signed. So that the reality is these two sign off on the big hires, the big signings, the recruitment, pal. Talk to me. Signings.
Okay, so this goes back technically to Triple H's days running NXT, and when AEW was introduced. So we're looking at 2019, really. You know, you look at some of the guys that Triple H brought into NXT that are now running wild on WWE TV, like Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, guys like that were brought in around that time frame when AEW was also around. I do think. I think this category is a lot closer than people may think. Because Tony Khan has done, for all the bad signings like Mercedes Moné, Andrade, Parker Bordeaux, Tony Khan has had a lot of hits. You know, he brought in Jon Moxley. He was able to bring in Cody and Kenny Omega when those guys could have gone back to WWE instead of coming to AEW. CM Punk. You know, CM Punk was, at the time, it was a great signing when he brought him in 2021. That was like, oh my God, this is, you know, big moment. Bryan Danielson, you know, Adam Copeland, Christian, a lot of great signings from Tony Khan. But when you look at what Triple H has done, right? He's brought in Logan Paul. That's a huge one. Logan Paul, like I said, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. I don't know. This category is pretty close. I'm not too sure. What do you think puts it over the top for either guy?
Here's the thing, right? You take the good with the bad with these sort of things. Tony Khan, his good is... I think Tony Khan's good is better than Triple H's good with the signings. Bringing back CM Punk and everything. Like, yes, we obviously all know what happened after, like, from late 2021 onwards. Did it work? Not really in the grand scheme of it. But surely, like that moment of Punk coming out, the buzz of the Punk return. Yeah, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson has been unbelievable. Even, the Ospreay signing's been really good. Cody and Omega. Like, those ones have been excellent. I mean, Jericho for the first year at least, year and a half, was a damn good, unbelievably good signing. It's just there's been a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Mercedes Moné, and like that's just, reports per se. But I mean, stuff like that, for instance. Yeah, the Adam Copeland signing. Which is, and people say we're biased in Adam Copeland. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And so there's some of these other big signings, these game changers, Keith Lee, Soraya. Need we say more? But then again, you get Swerve Strickland's, Tony Storm,
Samoa Joe.
Great signing. Look, I'm going to give this category to Tony Khan personally. You mentioned Logan Paul, for instance, with WWE. People say Vince McMahon brought in Logan Paul. WWE brought in Logan Paul. It wasn't so much Triple H, people will say. But yeah, I'm giving this to Tony Khan. I think, like the good has been so good. He's made, Swerve Strickland, Tony Storms, those ones have been really underrated. WWE wrestlers have come into AEW and really excelled. Yes, have there been ones that have been letdowns? No doubt about it. With AEW, I mean, Andrade was a terrible signing. Buddy Matthews sits around and catering at Malachi Black. So not everyone's a hit, but I think I'm taking AEW. I'm taking Tony Khan here for the first category. Do you agree, pal?
Yeah, I want to say this before I give my decision. Let's think about some Triple H signings, right? Because you said Logan Paul, people would probably credit that to Vince, and Cody is another one that'll be credited to Vince. What are some big Triple H signings aside from Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes? He brought in Tiffany Stratton. Some of those people. I mean, like think about the guys that went to AEW, the talent that have gone from AEW to WWE, like Andrade. What has Andrade done? Just coming back home, pal. He hasn't shown that he's better than Eddie Guerrero in any way, shape, or form in his second stint with WWE. Is there anyone that really like a splash big signing that you look at that Triple H is responsible for? Am I drawing a blank here?
I can't think of one. I mean, really, when I think of Triple H, I think of Triple H's guys. I think of Gunther.
Oh, CM Punk. CM Punk. There it is. CM Punk. That's the big splash. That's it. That's the big splash from Triple H.
Yeah. CM Punk's sloppy seconds. Tony Khan brought him back. Are you kidding me? Pal, we got to give Tony Khan credit for bringing Punk back to wrestling.
Absolutely.
Once he's back to wrestling, then, I mean, the Triple H thing, yes, it's great. They mended fences and he went back to WWE. Yes, fair play where it's due. but we've got to give Tony Khan the credit there. I mean, come on, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know if there is. So there really isn't one that Triple H has had, huh? There
Like
really
an
isn't.
organic one that Triple H has pulled out of the fire and made happen.
Yeah.
Really, with Triple H, it's his guys: Damian Priest, Gunther, Finn Balor's getting more TV time. JD McDonough's on TV more. Rhea Ripley's getting TV time. And stuff like that.
Yeah, because he wasn't.
Carlito pal, is that a big Triple H?
Actually, where I'm going to give him credit is this. I'm going to give him credit on this. He didn't back up the Brinks truck for a guy like Ospreay, a guy like Okada who's past his prime, and Mercedes Moné. I'm going to give him credit for that. You know, because he easily could have gone out and was like, oh, Okada, we want Okada, yeah. Oh, Tony Khan's giving you $6 million, we'll give you 6.5, pal. So I give him some credit there, but yeah, it's not too much. Like, he struck out on all those guys still. Jay White, he struck out on Jay White. He couldn't poach MJF away from AEW. So it seems like Triple H is focusing more on developing talent, signing, you know, younger, lesser known indie wrestlers like Stephanie, what's her name? Stephanie Vaquez. Yeah. I think it's her name. And developing guys like Braun Breaker, etc. So he's not into the big splash signings like Khan is.
Tony Khan, with his signings, is like junk food.
Yeah.
It's big hits. It's, you know, you go big, go home, have a big, massive, like, oh my God, this is amazing, amazing. And then afterwards, you'll be like, oh, was that really worth it? Like, yeah, was that really that good? Triple H is a healthy, clean diet. Yeah. Consistent. You know what you're going to get. It doesn't rely upon big splashes, big sugar hits, big cheat meals.
Exactly.
That's the reality. Just for the sake of this debate, as I said, I'm taking Tony Khan just because of how good the sugar hits like can be and the things he's enabled with said sugar hits. But realistically, if you had to pick between, you probably want a clean, consistent diet that Triple H is going to give you. Tony Khan's giving you those sugar hits, and half the time, the sugar hits don't even taste very good. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for this category, I go Tony Khan, too. I think, honestly, maybe Triple H's best signing is keeping Drew McIntyre. Honestly, like, that might be, you know, I don't know. But, yeah,